Learning Earth Magic in the Age of Calamitous mod for Conan Exiles can be a rewarding journey that pays off if you put time and effort into learning all the spells. This guide will walk you through all 5 Ascensions from your first steps to becoming a master of Earth Magic so that you too can dominate the lands of the Calamitous. To begin your quest for Earth Magic, as with all magic adventures in the Age of Calamitous mod, ensure you have completed the starter questline for Ancient Arts. You should also reach at least level 40, and if your server permits a no loot drop on death, craft a bed to use as a temporary respawn point for every time you have to return to the quest giver. Then you must first speak with Farengar Quanthus in the Hall of Arcane. This is usually located in your faction hall. You're going to ask him to help you find the Servant of Theralis to set you on the correct path to getting that Earth Magic started. Your quest begins with the Servant of Theralis. He is located in a cave east of the Great Dam. You'll need to defeat some easy-to-kill Children of Jill bats to reach him, but there should be no problem with you doing so if you are 40 or higher. Now, at this point, a pro tip would be to place a bed outside of the cave entrance somewhere, because this will save you that long run back if you happen to die, or every time you complete a quest, you won't have to absolutely take 20 minutes to run from New Asgard all the way back to the cave entrance. You'll just be able to kill yourself and respawn. However, remember, if your server settings do not allow this setting, which is no loot on death drop, do not use this strategy because, once again, you will lose everything. Now, the first Ascension, known as the Art of Theralis, is given to you after speaking to the servant. You'll receive this quest, and it will require you to kill 6 Rocknoses. Now, finding them can be challenging depending on other mods you have installed on the server. So here are a few locations to check. First is the best one, which is God's Claw Passage. This is just south of the Bridge of the Betrayer, and you can usually find 3 to 4 Iron Rocknoses there all the time, regardless of which mods are being in place and changing the types of Rocknoses around. If you are still lacking Iron Rocknoses and want to hurry along the path of this questline, you can then go to Shattering Springs or Sandscore Pass. And Sandscore Pass is just to the southeast of Shattering Springs. Shattering Springs itself, you will need a sandstorm mask to breathe in, but there are lots of Rocknoses, and at times Iron Rocknoses do spawn in this location, as well as the pathways on the Sandscore path. The final place I would recommend is the Sinkhole. You basically jump into the Sinkhole spawn point and run north from that Sinkhole entrance to find at least 12 different Rocknose spawns along that path. Now, if you can't find another Iron Rocknose, just return back to God's Claw Passage about 15 minutes later, and I can guarantee you will finish this quest. And once you've defeated the 6 Iron Rocknoses, you then are going to want to return to the Servant of Theralis at the cave. He's going to give you a tome and enough Earth Power gemstones for your first Ascension. Next, you're going to need to find the Tomb of Ekaratosh, located in the central west part of the H2 square. Inside, you will need to complete a jumping puzzle. The jumping puzzle goes like this. Now once you reach the top, you will need to click on this altar to receive your first ascension. Make sure you have right-clicked on the tome that is in your inventory so that you can learn the information for your first ascension. Now, at this point, you will need to return back to the Servant of Theralis, and he will give you 2 new quests to kill 6 wolves and 10 tigers. The wolves can be found right outside the cave near New Asgard and around the flat area from the elevated area that New Asgard is built upon. The tigers are located a little bit further south around the Boundary Spillway. Among the elephants and rhinos, you won't need to go to any other place. After completing these quests, you then return back to the servant in the cave. He will give you a new tome and more earth power gems. Go back to the Tomb of Ekaratosh and complete your second ascension. Now, as you can see at this point, we are starting to see a loop of what we have to do, which is why we have that bed placed outside of the cave, because now that we finished that second ascension, it is time for us to go back to the cave to speak with the servant one more time. This time he's going to ask you to defeat Rotbranch. You can find this creature in several locations, but a reliable spot is just north of the Mounds of the Dead, or even more conveniently, straight west of the cave entrance itself. Just walk down the hillside and he's usually just sitting there in a small flat area under the trees. You kill Rotbranch and you return to the servant for another tome, as well as more earth power gems. You then go back to the Tomb of Ekaratosh for your third ascension. Now, you know the drill. You've got your third ascension, now head back to the cave. The servant will now send you to kill a Scourge Rhino. These rhinos are found in the G2 square, but don't always spawn because there's other placeholders such as the Scourge Snake, the Scourge Dragon, and the Scourge Bat. But if he's not there, what you're going to want to do is kill all 3 of the Scourge animals in the area and then leave for about 15 minutes to allow them to respawn and then return. This is very important. If you stay in that area, these creatures will not respawn, so you want to make sure that you are leaving the area and coming back at a later time. Now, once you finish this, you are going to go back to the cave to talk to the servant, where once again, he is going to give you a tome that you must right click on and the earth power gems to go back to the tomb to get your next ascension. You then immediately return back to the cave to talk to the servant. The servant then is going to ask you for your final task. The servant will tell you you need to kill the Bane of Theralis, who is inside the Midnight Grove dungeon. Now, to enter the Midnight Grove, you're going to need to trade feral flesh for a midnight potion. Drinking the potion will teleport you inside, and it is found at this location all the time. Now, you'll navigate through the dungeon killing the wolf and gorilla bosses, but instead of continuing down that path of killing the other bosses, instead you are going to take the left route after killing the gorilla. This takes you back towards the starting area in the center of the Midnight Grove. You're going to find a path of roots that are just to the left before you hit the starting gate that is entering you into that starting point. Follow this path up to the Bane of Theralis, which is sitting on top of the roots of the gate itself. You kill him, and then once again, of course, you return to the Servant of Theralis one last time. He will give you your final tome and gems. With these, you are going to head back to the Tomb of Ekaratosh and click on the shrine and complete your final ascension. Congratulations, you have now fully mastered Earth magic. Use your new powers wisely, Exile, and remember, have a great day.